Alright folks, here we are attempting to apply this new chipset, which to the FM4, it's a quad FM4 tuner that you can see the front of there. And what I had was, you can't see it here in the light, but we'll bend her over a bit. There you go. You can actually see where the battery had exploded and got all over the main board. The tuner was working good up until I started applying this, and even I cleaned it up as best I could using alcohol and all that stuff, so it doesn't seem to have deteriorated. The only thing I wasn't able to do is store my memory locations because the battery was obviously shot, but I was able to manually still tune to radio stations. So I ordered this chipset from Dada Electronics, removed the battery, and then I removed all the resistors and the capacitor basically as per the instructions. And now I've actually just removed, you can see there, the base for the IC1 chipset, which you see goes here, and I've got most of the holes clear. There's a couple that look like have a bit of solder in it, so I'm going to use these little hand drills basically to open them up so I can fit the new chipset base in, and then once I do that I'll solder it in, and then we'll see if she works. So here, let's get her focused. There, in focus better. Alright, so we'll give that a whirl and test my fledgling soldering skills. So hopefully I won't make a mess of it. And there you can see where the pins go right in there under IC1. And of course I've removed all the resistors and C16 and R14 like it said in the instruction set. So we'll see how it goes and report on it as I progress. I've cleaned out all the holes. I looked it up in the light and you can actually see clear through them all. It doesn't look like there's any obstructions in the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get an isopropyl alcohol swab and clean off the board and around this area, just to make sure on both sides, and just to make sure that everything is nice and clean before I apply the base. And there you have it. I've cleaned up both sides with isopropyl alcohol swabs. My wife is a nurse, so I get them from the hospital, plus I have pure IPA as well in bottles. So there you go, nice and clean. And now we will make sure that we've got pin 1 up on the top, closest to the left-hand side of the tuner as you look at the tuner head on. So on this side is pin 1. So make sure the base pin 1 is there, as well as the chipset base once you put it into the base. So we'll get that fitted and start soldering. The base, and as you can see there's a little notch. If I can get this thing to focus correctly, there we go. If I can get this thing, yeah, there we go. So you can see a little notch on this end, so that to me means that that's pin 1, and you can see all the pins are nice and straight. Haven't messed with it at all, so we'll put those through the holes. Make sure it's well pressed into the PCB, and then we'll start soldering pin by pin, and hopefully we can get her in, and then we can try the chipset, which is right here. I've got it on plastic so we don't have any static problems, and there you go. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, there's the base. I just fitted it in. I had to bend a few of the pins, just like a row of pins, just slightly outwards, because I think when it was stuffed into the styrofoam it bent in a little bit, so not a problem. You have to do this in really good light so you can actually see where the pins are and how they line up with the holes. So I was able to get that nestled in there pretty quick, and so what I'll do is I'll apply my finger pressure on here. So what I'll do is I'll do the 4 corner pins just to hold it in, Make sure it doesn't lift while I'm soldering. And then once I get the four corners to hold it in place, I'll then proceed with one by one doing all the pins on the back side. So as you can see, I'll hold it up. You can see the pins sticking through. If I can get this thing to focus, through on that side there. So right, I can't point because I got both hands full. Okay, so let's give it a whirl. Well, it looks like I got her soldered in place pretty good. The only one I'm sort of suspect on is that solder joint there. It looks like the pad had partially come off on one side, so I'm not sure if it's making electrical contact, but I see that there is space between each of the solder joints, so I don't think I'm touching on any of the pins. That one is certainly separate from the two, but it's a little bit of a gob because I wanted to make sure I got good electrical contact. May or may not have made it. I might have to go scratch into the board to touch the traceway there. Anyway, we'll see how it works. We'll install the chip. So there you go. There's the base installed, and we'll give it a whirl. So again, here's the chipset, and you can see, there we go, you can see better there that there's a notch on the top, so that equates to pin 1, I believe. So we're going to put pin 1 to where pin 1 was on the board, which is on the closest to the left side of the tuner, and see how she fits. Pushed her straight down, and she went in tickety-boo, nice little snap, and it looks like she is secure in place. And all we have to do now is turn it on and see if I blew it. Let's power it up and see what happens. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see if it works. Power's on. Tune works, and then I think you hold it. Oh, let's go to 100.3. The Q, I don't have an antenna on, so it won't. I got to figure out how to program the memory. But hey, I'm tickled. At least all the buttons are working. The tuning dial is working. And let's see if it works. I'll get the manual here in a sec and figure out how to program a memory. Holy crapola, doesn't it work? So there you go, 100.3, which is the Q. A buddy of mine used to be a radio announcer there, and I DJ for him on the side. He's got a DJ company now. And 98.5, which is kind of contemporary rock, or contemporary music. I don't know if you call it rock anymore. And I haven't programmed any of the other ones yet. So, wow, happy. Thank you, Dada Electronics. You guys rock. This thing turned out better than I could have hoped. So, thank you very much. And on to the next upgrade kit, which will be either my Quad 44 or my 34. I still have to order another 44 kit for my newer Quad 44. This is all remnants of doing my 303 build. So there's the 44. This is a late model because it doesn't have the cancel button here, and it's a higher serial number. And it does make a whiffling noise when you power it up, and it actually makes a whiffling noise when you power it down. And when you power it up, it makes a slight pop, but unlike my other 44, which works perfectly, so I'm not sure whether I even want to apply a kit to that one because it's working so well. Anyway, this will be the next kit I order, and then I've got a 34 and a 44 downstairs. So, on we press. So here we are in my basement after installing my quad FM4 back into my system here, and there we go. So I'm in my basement. Obviously I've picked a couple of channels that aren't the best down here, and I'm going to be moving an antenna upstairs, but wanted to do this before I did anything else. So look at that. It works perfectly. So once again, thank you, Dada Electronics. That was an awesome little kit that put functionality back into my FM tuner, which I listen to quite a bit while I'm working down here in my man cave. And we've got some other projects on the go. So we've got the 34 over there. 306 works really good, but again, I may do a mod kit for that. This one I already did, the Dada Electronics, but I got a technician to do it. But since I got so many pieces, it was getting expensive to get technicians to do it, so that's why I've decided to do it myself and learn something in the process. So the kits are, they come with instructions that are quite easy to read and understand, except for numpties like me who aren't really electronically savvy, but if I can figure out how to do it, I think anybody could. So thanks for watching. Obey all further alarms.